Turn that damn juice on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, as we're going to have plenty of things to talk about when we recap the weekend that was. Of course, we'll have a little bit of best and worst of the weekend, look at the SEC, look at the big game, the Super Bowl that happened last night. I'm sure a lot of you watched it and really cared about that, so we'll get into some discussions with that. And, of course, get into your chats, too. Still no equipment. Still no phone lines. We'll keep you posted, though. But, fellas, how we feeling after a very eventful weekend in the world of sports?
Good. I feel good, man. A lot of people, they want that Monday after the Super Bowl to be a holiday, but I was not a belligerent idiot. So I actually feel better than I normally do the day after the big game. I'm hanging in there.
Curtis is telling the truth. I can confirm. Pulled up. I knew he meant business. I invited Curtis over yesterday, and he came over, and he just had 3 beers in his hand. 3 beers in his hand. I've never seen someone show up to a function with 3 beers. You show up with a 12-pack. You maybe show up with a 6-pack or whatever, and you're like, okay, yes, maybe I'll drink these. Maybe I won't. Maybe we'll split them. Just had 3 beers. He came in with a game plan, got his game plan, and just executed to perfection. And so he was tame. And so, yeah, I feel good as well. Gentlemen, the hog is strong. That's what I know, and I feel that in my bones these days. And I'm excited for the journeys that are to come for the hog in these next few months.
I was going to ask, if he's bringing in 3 beers, did he have it in a bag? Was he holding them in between his fingers? Like from the bottles and stuff. Like how was he bringing? How do you bring in 3 beers?
I think he was just holding them kind of like just.
I had them tight.
They weren't connected by anything, right?
I was securing the ball. Yeah.
Okay.
5 points of contact. We're good.
Keep it tucked up. We did a little fumble drill.
And in fairness to me, like they were full pints. Like it wasn't 3 12-ounces. They were pints. So I'd like to think it's the equivalent of 4 normals. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Listen, everyone's got their own routines when it comes to the Super Bowl and the ways that they do it. And some people do it with 3 beers, and that's fine. Everyone's got their own little traditions and own little things there. But we'll have some fun with that, folks. I know that a lot of that came from there. And, of course, for a lot of you that were at the game with Arkansas and Alabama on Saturday night, late game, what it ended up being, but great crowd that was there. I know Pot the Palace talked about in their post-game and everything. But a couple days later in the fact, guys, I know like we look at the title of the thumbnail in the stream today is about no moral victories for the Razorbacks, because it's not. I think moral victory is such a funny term because people get so pissed off by it. And it's such a negative thing, and I don't think anybody should accept it. But I do believe that there is, you can look at saying, yeah, you lost, but there were still some good things that happened. Maybe you did like the fight that they showed in the end. Whatever it is, they still lost no matter what. But I don't know. I don't feel any differently about the chances for Arkansas making the NCAA tournament, because that is the goal right now. I don't feel differently right now than I did before the game, really. Granted, it would have been nice to win. It would have been cool. Would have been a lot of fun. But I don't know. I have no real ill feelings about that loss and thinking that, oh, man, this team reverted back or this player sucks, blah, blah, blah. I think they're still just fine.
John, what if I told you should feel better about Arkansas's chances to get into the NCAA tournament after what happened?
If I'm supposed to feel better, then between my stomach issues, I'll take anything I can. So, yeah, hey, listen, I'll feel great about it. If Curtis is saying it, then I need to feel better about it.
Well, I just, by Arkansas showing that fight and getting back and making that a very, very winnable game at the end of that, that was almost like a epic comeback, like an all-time great. They fell a little bit short there, but it did a couple things for them. One, the only way to losing to Alabama hurts you is if they beat the hell out of you, right? And then it affects your efficiency and the metrics and all that. That's what happened to Oklahoma against Tennessee over the weekend, and they paid for it. They dropped 8 spots because they got blown out at home, and now Arkansas is ahead of them in the net rankings and everything. Arkansas kind of covered the expectations there. They actually went up a little bit in some of their efficiency margins at KenPom. They stayed put in the net, the wins above bubble, on all those things that you look at there. And then I talk about this place called the Bracket Matrix. It's a great place for nerds like me who really follow this bracketology stuff close. They just take all of the reputable, like the well-known bracketology guys who put these projections out there, and they just average it all out to give you an idea of where your team stands. After the Kentucky win, Arkansas was included in 2 of 90 brackets. It's like a couple people were like, "Oh, cool, yeah, we'll throw them back in there." After the Texas win, Arkansas was in 13 of the 90 brackets. After the Alabama loss, Arkansas is in 40 of the 90 brackets. So it got better for them. Reason being because they showed well, and you're in a situation now where a lot of other bubble teams around you or whatever got beat by worse teams or had poor showings or got blown out or whatever. And even in losing, you can actually do yourself some favors there. So I'm more encouraged than I was a couple days ago.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys' sentiments. I think that was like about as moral a victory as you can pick up. It was definitely that. And I understand, like, I'm not trying to tell anybody they should just be satisfied with losses, but and I'm also not trying to act like Bama is the Monstars, like a team that's unbeatable or anything like that. And I came away from that game thinking Arkansas could beat that Bama team. They didn't. And, you could even make an argument the game wasn't really as close as the final score indicates. I'll even hear that out. But really what it comes down to is I don't know what letter grade I would give the Razorbacks for Saturday night. Just the performance they had. It was, Curtis does this, so maybe I'll just leave it to him. But, maybe it's a B, C+, B-, B+. I don't know. But it's not like Arkansas played their A game and then came up short against a good team. I don't necessarily think Bama played their A game either. I think both teams played pretty well and could have played better. But I guess what encouraged me the most about Saturday is it just didn't feel like some fluke thing where, Arkansas gets hot and they make a bunch of shots and all of a sudden it made it really close. I just felt like Arkansas played a really good team, lost to the better team, but it was a fair showing. And ultimately, I don't feel vastly different about this team and their capability. And I think what you bring up, Curtis, is very interesting, that Arkansas kind of staying put on Saturday after helping themselves a lot in those 2 games, helped them make up a lot of ground. I think that's something, these things are going to continue to fluctuate throughout the year. But what Saturday was an effort that definitely did not hurt Arkansas by any means in any of the metrics. It definitely didn't hurt my feeling that this is a team that is good and capable of beating a lot of the teams left on their schedule. They still need to go out there and do that. Make no mistake about that. But I feel pretty confident about their chances to do that. And again, that's just something I didn't feel 10 days ago.
No, not at all. In fact, like when being there at the game and Arkansas was down, I guess 18 was the most that they were down with 6.5 minutes to go. A lot of the fans started making their way towards the exits. Not the majority of the fans, but there were a good amount. And I just tweeted out, I was like, man, they're heading to the exits now. And some people got like pissed off about that. Be like, oh, let them go. We don't know, no true fans or anything like that. And at the time, I'm like, I get it. I mean, it's late Saturday night. You're getting your butt handed to you. And, it's just try to beat the traffic. It's what happens in games. Arkansas did it to Kentucky just a week ago. It happens. And so, like, I think everyone kind of resorted to, hey, this is a loss. But to see Arkansas at the end of that game come back in the fashion that they did, they didn't win. I think they got as close as one, at least 3 points, maybe, as far as cutting into the lead there.
We got to 2.
Yeah, 2 points. Yeah. And I just sat there at the end of the game and I was, again, bummed that they lost or whatever. And trust me, I heard it from the Alabama fans who were still bringing up comments I made 2 years ago about Grant Nelson. It's funny to see that, but
the barbecue sauce thing,
the barbecue sauce, man, they're so obsessed with that. I was like, man, that was one of my worst analogies too. I just did that on the fly, but I'm glad you guys remember. But either way, like I just sat there. I was like, man, that was not something I knew that Arkansas would be capable of in that moment, because Alabama's just a machine. I mean, they're a really good team. They've had a full week to prepare. Like you said, Andrew, they didn't play their worst game. It's not like they played they couldn't hit a shot. I mean, they hit 60%, or 55% from the game, from the field. I mean, they did their job, but to just see them not quit, not give up, and just get after it the way they did, that got me excited. I mean, the place was going crazy there at the very end. And that's the type of thing where no moral victories, but against a team like Bama, they're a really good team. They're going to close out teams because they're experienced. They have some of the best players in the SEC. And to see them kind of give that up a little bit, even if it's on the road or not, I don't care, was was pretty, I'm sure for them, a little bit alarming at the time, but also for me, being like, okay, so Arkansas, if they can do this against Bama in this moment, now I'm not going to say they're going to go and beat Auburn, but I mean, I could see them going on the road and beating A&M. I mean, I wouldn't be like shocked. I wouldn't be shocked they beat Mississippi State at home. So it just really solidified, I feel like, for these next few games and these tough ones that, hey, you're not there yet, but you just took one of the best teams in the country to the very brink when you look dead in the water in the final 6 minutes, and that's worth something to me.
Yeah, no, I think so for sure. And it's you just have to, I think, view this team through a different lens than you did when they got off to such a poor start in SEC play, because they are different now. And that's and I strategically did it this way this morning with the Pot at the Palace, where the title was just, hey, the numbers don't lie. Arkansas, they're balling without Boogie. And they are, and all the mouth breathers out there who didn't listen were just me like, you're blaming Boogie Flan. That's why are you throwing him under the bus there? I spent like the first 4 minutes explaining how it's not really a Boogie thing. It's about how these guys have come together in his absence and fitting into their roles and everything like that, and then provided a lot of context to it. But if you take the last 5 games that they played without Boogie, they're playing like a borderline top 25 team in the country by all the metrics that are out there. Their offensive efficiency is way up. Their defensive efficiency is up. The last 3 games, which is the most difficult stretch on Arkansas' schedule, if you take those, comparatively speaking to everybody else in the country over the course of that time, they're the number 13 team in the country. Like, so when we see Arkansas basketball right now and we go, man, they look a lot better. They're playing pretty well. This looks like a good team. It's not prisoner of the moment stuff. It's not drinking the Kool-Aid. It's true. They're passing the eye test now, and the numbers are backing it up. So yeah, do they still have a lot of work to do to get to where they want to be? Of course, like there's no doubt about that. But I think even in a loss, like what they've shown, I think a team like Kentucky is maybe in that second tier of the SEC. You went and punked them on the road. Texas is probably a middle of the pack-ish SEC type of team. You went and kicked their ass on the road. Those are good things, and Alabama's in that upper echelon, and you didn't play your A game, and you still hung with them and had a chance at the end. I'm really encouraged by what this team could do moving forward. My only question is if they have enough depth and enough gas in the tank to get there. That's the one thing that I worry about.
Yeah, we can still go on through the roster and we can talk about each guy. And hell, that's literally what Curtis does on the report card. Talks about what each guy did and who can play better, what things can go better for Arkansas. Because I thought there were some positive and some negative. Arkansas's definitely got to get more scoring from their backcourt than they got on Saturday, which is kind of crazy that they were able to score 81 with basically Nelly and DJ Wagner having one of their worst outings, at least definitely in recent play here. And so I think that's the most encouraging part, is that I feel like what Arkansas did on Saturday is not only sustainable, but I have very good reason to believe that they can be better than that, because we've seen both of those guys score at a higher level. Arkansas didn't have a Duke Thero for a long stretch there in the second half. So there's actually some variables that I'm more encouraged by, because I think they're going to go better in future games. I think Nelly is certainly going to have better shooting games down the stretch here. I think a Duke Thero is definitely going to have even more dominant showings. Will Big Z have another 27-point game? Who knows? But again, you can just go on down the line. Like, I think there's definitely a lot for Arkansas to improve on, but my confidence in their ability to actually go out there and do it is just so much higher. And that was the most frustrating part. When Arkansas was 0-5 in SEC play, the record was what it was, and what they had to accomplish was what it was, but they were just playing bad basketball. They had such a low ceiling. When they were going to Kentucky, we wondered if they were even going to be able to score 75 points, because they were averaging like 59 in SEC play at that point. To say that this team is different than that one, if you don't agree with that, I feel like you're just not watching the same thing we're watching. And the numbers that Curtis has been detailing obviously back that up. But just look at the team. It's completely different. And again, it's not because of Boogie, but it does happen to coincide with Boogie's exit. But I definitely think this team needed to make an adjustment. They've made that adjustment. There's still plenty of work to do, and we can talk about, will they do it? Will they not? Where will they end up? But I think we can all agree this team is much more equipped to actually handle this stretch of the season that they're about to handle than they were even 10 days ago. It feels completely different.
It's growth, and it's nice to see. It felt like so many times just the fact that they got to the point to where, they are getting better is just nice. I felt like last year's team didn't do that as the year went on. And even the previous year's team with Anthony Black and all of them, they got to the tournament, but it wasn't like, they started, you could tell it was building into something better as the year went on. I mean, I guess if I'm not saying it's the same team, I'm just referring in the comparison of the growth to it. Kind of reminds me of Muss's first Elite Eight run team where they didn't look good in the beginning, but you could see the year as they got better. I'm not saying they're the comparison of how good they are or anything. I'm just saying you knew when they were getting better and you could see it, and it was evident as the year went on. And I feel like it's the same thing with this year's team too, where I'm going to be honest, guys. I know we'll talk about it on Wednesday. I think Arkansas beats the brakes off of LSU at home on Wednesday. I mean, I just think that for the first time ever, Arkansas actually gets a dominating SEC win this season. I think they just kill LSU because I think that's their mindset. That's where they're playing at, and it feels good. It feels good to have confidence again. It feels good to feel good again. And
Well, I'll tell you this: they better, because LSU is now a quad 3 game, and if you screw that one up, you just kiss everything we've talked about for the last week goodbye. So we always do the thing about like, is this a must win? Is it too early for this to be a must win? No, this is like if you lose it, you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to win. And also we talk about the metrics and margin of victory. Not saying you have to win by 30 necessarily, but if you did go out there and hammer them good, it actually might give you a little bit of a bump in those metrics. You're never going to move the needle in a big way beating a quad 3 team at home. But if you win by 4, it's a lot different than if you win by 18. And Arkansas saw the end of that with the Bama game. If Arkansas had lost by 18 to Bama, probably would have dropped a spot or two in the net and probably would have dropped in some of those metrics. And so I think this is another one. It would also help us push that kind of narrative of, hey, this is a different team. You can clearly judge them on this. It would be a lot easier for the committee or whoever it is to overlook those early season games if you go out there and beat one of the teams that you lost to by 20.
Yeah. You've already lost to LSU. Don't do it again. Just, beat the crap out of them. Just make that happen, please. Because that's, it's going to put a real monkey in the wrench or whatever it is. I don't know. Whatever that term is. Yeah, do that. So it would suck is what it would be at the end of the day. It would suck.
A monkey in the wrench, man.
Yeah. I think I wanted to say, I wanted to say, it's like, have you guys ever seen the movie Boondock Saints? Completely random.
Long time ago.
Okay, well, there was that bartender that he always mixed up all the phrases. He's like, those in glass houses sink ships. It's like, that's kind of what I'm feeling like, So
I like that.
Yeah, it works. People know. It's fine. Let's get to chat. Hey, shout out to our guy, Dre, who's just feeling very awesome today and helping us out with some super chats. Appreciate you, Dre. Again, I'm calling you Dre because that's what you said. So he says, we have played better without Boogie, full stop. It gave confidence to the team. If we brought Boogie back, we would be way better. He also says, game showed me that we have grit and that we have a bright future. And also says, team depended a lot on Boogie. Without him, it gave the team a chance to step up. We are better by far.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with all those things. One of the things I said on the pod today, it drew a couple comments where people were like, are you crazy, bro? Is when I was doing my thing about like, this is not me saying Boogie's a bad basketball player or not a winning player or anything like that. It's just, like guys have rallied together. They found something that has clicked and maybe in more natural roles or whatever. But I said, hey, I love Boogie and nothing would make me happier, even though I don't expect this to happen. Then by the end of the regular season or whatever, he's back or available. I wouldn't use him the same way. That doesn't mean I'd play him 30 minutes and say, here's the ball back in your hands. Nelly, you get in the corner and don't you dare move. No, I'm not saying that at all, but wouldn't it be nice to have that extra body? Maybe the guy who could come off as your sixth man. He's the guy in the corner that could knock down some catch and shoot threes. Like, would he accept that role? I don't know, but like I do think it would help there. You don't want to mess with a good thing. It's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they just got it fixed, not too long ago here. But I do think there's room when you're just hemorrhaging for depth because this is not an 8-man rotation. It is a 7-man rotation. Jonas Adu just plays when he has to at this point. If you can add somebody who can help you with an area of weakness, it's just about using him the right way and doing it in a way that doesn't disrupt things. I don't know if they'd be able to do that or not, but I wouldn't hate it if he became available. I mean, I don't know how you say no to an NBA talent rejoining your roster.
Yeah. I don't know either. Because I was even someone discussed that with me at the game on Saturday. Like I was sitting next to a guy who was like, man, if we just had Boogie, we had Boogie doing this, other guys are like, you're out of your mind, you're crazy. It's just it's like everyone's gonna have their own thoughts on it. But I don't know. I get where people come from as to why, because you're playing better right now.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in it, but I just always feel like if you got a guy who's really good at the game of basketball, having him on the team available is not a bad thing ever. You know what I'm saying? I get like the chemistry and all that stuff, but I mean, I have a hard time believing, be like, hey, Boogie, I don't want you to be on the team later this season if you can. Like, I don't think I could ever take that stance. It just feels weird.
And I really, I think, Curtis, you obviously make a great point about you just can't have it affect all the roles and where it say, hey, Nelly Davis, you're going back to whatever. But I tell you, Arkansas's current backup point guard is Billy Richmond, who played really well the other day, mostly when he wasn't playing point guard, actually. When he was playing off ball, that's clearly the direction they probably need to go with him. But he's kind of had to take the ball up the court and initiate offense, which – I love Billy Richmond. Don't necessarily think that's going to be his game. And so I think at the worst case scenario, if you're upgrading that backup point guard spot to Boogie and allowing Billy to come in off the bench and play off ball, I think you kind of kill two birds with one stone. I just think you have to find a way to get the most out of Boogie. Again, we're assuming he's going to be available or whenever, at some point, whenever. You'd have to find a way to get something out of him without it actually affecting the whole thing you have going on with your starting group, which I think is the approach they would take, especially because you'd assume they would kind of work him back into playing shape anyway. And then if he starts balling and the team takes it up a notch, then of course, yeah, all right, maybe he is in the starting lineup, maybe he is whatever. But I think it definitely wouldn't hurt to start, maybe dip your toe in the water.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about depth. I mean, having more depth is nice. It's always a good thing. Last time I checked. So, all right, a few more of your chats, folks. Again, we appreciate everybody hopping in, and be sure to like the stream, for the algorithm for the boys. Hickory Hog 94 says, we didn't lose because of the refs, but Thero not being able to play defense without the fear of fouling out definitely hurt. It wasn't the free throws. It was the foul trouble more than anything.
I feel you on that comment there. And, I had a lot of people, I guess it was on the post-game show. We had a handful of people who were really irritated about the officiating. And then a handful were like, I don't get it. Like, why are people mad about this? Arkansas shot more free throws than Alabama or whatever. And you're right, Hickory Hog. Like, it's not always about the free throw disparity. It's just how it impacts you. Like it caused a dude Thero to be off the floor for the last 5 minutes of the first half when you couldn't score. And then, it impacts what he's able to do defensively. There was that stretch for like the last 4 minutes where, Thero and Z were pretty much the only guys who could put the ball in the hole, and neither one of them are out there. And so all that stuff matters. Some of the fouls were fouls. Like we could have done without the double tech situation there with Z. Some of them were ticky tack on Thero, whatever. It impacted the game, whether it was fair or not, whether the calls were right or egregious or whatever, it impacted things. And then you had a situation where Arkansas, it felt like as Alabama was stretching out that lead in the second half, that they just weren't afforded the luxury of being able to be as physical as Alabama was. And it's something that really stood out to me. And then you add foul trouble on top of that. And that's how you go from, down 4 to down 18 or 20 or whatever it was real quick. And they made adjustments. Like there's ebbs and flows throughout a game. And at the end, man, like you had a shot to win, and you didn't necessarily execute the things you needed to in that final 60 seconds or whatever that could have got you over the hump. But it's hard to be mad about it when you did everything you could to get back in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And also to throw it into, like, see, that's the thing is I don't know ball, but I know people, and people don't realize sometimes how things like that can impact a person or a team or anything. I always bringing up Jalen Williams, man, like when him taking charges. Yeah. Everyone remembers him taking charges and, hey, he was really good at that or whatever. But like what you can't just put a number on is the impact that has, because suddenly if you got a guy who's notoriously known for taking charges and getting those calls, suddenly people aren't willing to drive in as easily, or they're going to think about it. They're going to be like, oh, I got to change up my shooting way because I don't want to run it. Like it just changes an entire mindset. And so it's the same thing with the officiating. Cause again, like you said, Chris, it's not about the foul calls, but I'm starting right now that I saw of all people, I saw like 4 travels that were just,
the Youngblood dude, man, every time he caught it,
dude, like, that was just absurd. Like that was my thing. I'm like, I get like some of this stuff, but then the other things when you're just like, I don't know. I just feel like it's very, very obvious if that's the case. So, but yeah, that was crazy. And Double H wants to know, he's like, do y'all know something we don't? We were told this was a season-ending injury for Boogie.
John Rothstein told you it was a season-ending injury for Boogie. John Calipari did not. So
they cleared that up right away. I mean, because Rothstein was the guy that initially said, yeah, he's shut down for the season. Then when the team put out the statement, they said point blank, there is no timetable for his return. So it's not like they said, hey, he's for sure coming back. But then Calipari, I believe it was Cal, right, that was asked to clarify. And he was like, yeah, we have not ruled him out for the season. They don't have a timeline. And so he's definitely not coming back anytime soon. But that is an important clarification. And it may be a clarification for no reason. Like, he very well could miss the entire season. But that's been pretty documented that he's not officially ruled out for the year.
Depends on how the body heals, you know?
I mean, we're talking about a hand, too. So it's like, it's not like something, or if it was a non-contact knee injury, yeah, that's probably one you really definitively are not coming back from this season. But in all likelihood, I don't think people should be expecting him back necessarily, but it definitely wouldn't be like out of left field and without, it wouldn't come out of nowhere because we've kind of laid the foundation for it already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just so funny to me how, like, I don't know, like people will hear one thing and then, the coach says one thing and then the communication always gets misused a lot too. But I don't know, like, seeing him and knowing like what could be, if I have to hear like if he's getting always actually out for hand management or some crap like that, I'm just like, man, just please don't do that to me. I don't want to hear that stuff. Garfield Stupid, great name. He says if DJ or Davis gets in foul trouble, it would be nice to have him as a backup, referring to Boogie Fland.
Yeah, I just when we were talking about like figuring out and the depth and the importance of having an extra body. That's why I started that one. Because that's true. Because Arkansas has been so good this season, really for most of the season, about defending at a pretty high level without getting in foul trouble. But the last couple games, we've seen more of that. And as the fatigue of the season sets in and everything, you're probably seeing more of it. I don't want a world where DJ Wagner is in foul trouble and he just can't be out there on the floor for an extended period of time because, like Andrew said, like Billy Richmond, love him. He's an absolute dog. He played great against Bama. Extended point guard minutes is not a recipe for success for this team with him. And listen, John L. Davis is playing better, but I don't know if I want to see that from him either, man. So if they had an option, that would be cool.
Well, I was just laughing about it. I know you guys probably mentioned it too, but what an interesting stat line for DJ Wagner in that game, man. Just
crazy. Yeah.
8 points, 9 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, but went 1 of 6 from the field and with 35 minutes. Like, just a very interesting box score there.
He must have assisted on like every one of Big Z's baskets.
Had to. Because what Arkansas had 15. So you're talking about 2/3 of it's coming from him. 2/3 of the shots made were coming from him. So, but yeah, speaking of Big Z, I saw somebody in the chat. Like, I don't know if it was jokingly bringing it up or not, but I guess this John Doe, because we get some random YouTube people sometimes that just like, all right, I'm going to decide today's the day I'm just going to go off on one.
Yeah,
and this dude's been blowing up the chat. So
anonymous John Doe, I kind of like the name. Like,
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But he says Big Z got drafted Saturday night. Cal has a lot of recruiting to do. We're gonna have a lot of holes.
Certainly didn't hurt him, his draft stock.
Yeah.
Look, Big Z is a guy that going into the year, depending on where you looked, was a fringe draft prospect anyway. So like him getting drafted wouldn't be like out of nowhere, wouldn't be this like crazy thing. And a pretty weak draft, a 7'2" guy that can knock down threes is going to get a look. Who knows where he'll end up, but he's definitely going to have some type of decision to make after the season.
Yeah, no, he will for sure. That was incredible, man. He looked really, really good. And that definitely caught the attention of a lot of people who make decisions. So we'll see, because like even before he's had this resurgence, a lot of the mock drafts I would look at, he'd still be in them like way back, like 55 to 60 range or whatever. But now he's really been emerging and he's starting and he's shown he can play 30 plus minutes, and he did what he did the other night. When they update those things, he's probably going to be up there higher. So we'll see. We knew they had a lot of work that they were going to have to do in the front court anyway. That's just kind of part of the deal. Honestly, the only 2 teams in the country that I can think of who just get really, really good basketball players and somehow get them to stay for 15 years of college, it's Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl. It's Alabama and Auburn. Their guys just always come back. They always do. Mark Sears is in his 9th year. He'll be back next year. Right? Grant Nelson is 35. He'll be back next year. I mean, it's unreal how they're able to do that. And then Arkansas will be the team that has those fringe, maybe back into the second round guy. Now he's out of here. It's just how it always works, man. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and also like speaking of Big Z and that, I just think it's funny too, again, going off the stat line and everything. The fact that he led the team in steals is just like, okay. Yeah. 7'4" guy, just leading the team in steals, and block shots and points and everything else. So,
and swag.
Yeah.
And mustache game. And I mean, just the list goes on and on.
Dude, it was so funny too, because and it's not a bad thing, but it was just funny in the stands. Everybody around me was just like, just let Z keep shooting every time. Just let Z shoot. I'm like, man, isn't this so fun how this season is gone where, for a second there is like, God, this guy sucks. Get him out. He can't do anything. He looks awkward. And then now they're like, every time down the floor, let's let him fire. Rise and fire. See what you got. It's just funny, man.
I'm all in on any European 7-footer who has ever made a three before. I love it, man. I love the game. I was doing some scrolling earlier and I saw that Illinois has got some 7'2" Italian dude named Luigi who's visiting. So I was watching some of his highlights and he was hitting threes and I'm just like, I just want to forward this to Ching Coleman's burner and get it on the radar here, man, because give me those guys, it's just it's a unique style of play. Not many people out there have the size and skill set that Z does. And he's got a ton of work. He's got to get more physical. We know all that stuff, but my God, it's fun to watch, man.
He's officially beat the Connor Vanover allegations.
Yes. Good.
He's officially not Connor Vanover. But also he's a guy that, dude, even before the Kentucky game, BBN, obviously they saw him for a year. They miss him, but they're like, man, if we could have got that guy, like they love a dude, Thero, DJ Wagner, they want to kill, but Big Z, they were like, man, if we could have kept him somehow, that would have been something. I think they saw the vision too.
Yeah.
Certainly seems that way. And using that, we'll go and jump into our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall. Had a great time there Friday, folks, and really appreciate all of you who showed up and got to shop there, got your gift cards and everything. And we always enjoy our shows. We're going to be back March 7th. It's the Friday before the Mississippi State game. We'll be there live once again with some gift cards to give away. But yeah, it was a lot of fun there, and it's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. They got everything in stock. So be sure to check them out in store, 3417 North College Avenue, but shop them online, insidearkansas.com/Alumni Hall. You can have all of it delivered straight to your door with Alumni Hall. So a simple question of, hey, after that game, how do you feel? Do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Do you feel the same about the chances of Arkansas getting into the NCAA tournament after the loss to Bama? 59% of you say the same. 35% of you say better.
Okay.
So essentially 93% of you feel like Arkansas is in the NCAA tournament, or you even feel better about the NCAA tournament after that game. So, yeah,
I think that's fair, man.
Do we call that a moral victory? Is that the definition of a moral victory? I mean, that's what people are going to be saying. But no, I'm happy that that's the case, and I feel the same way. It's like it's going to be you got to take care of business against the teams that you're going to be favored against, like LSU. You got to beat South Carolina on the road, beat Vanderbilt, beat Missouri at home, beat Texas at home. But, I mean, other than Auburn right now, guys, it's like I feel like Arkansas can beat all these teams. I'm not saying they will, but, I mean, A&M, they're pretty good, top 10 team, but I think Arkansas could go in there and beat them in College Station. Would be nice.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said what you said because people start freaking out. I'm not saying they will, but, yeah, like outside of at Auburn, it's there's no reason to look at any of those games and be like, yeah, probably go ahead and mark that one down as a loss and worry about the other ones,
A&M's right before Auburn, right? They're back to back, and it's A&M first and then Auburn. Mm-hmm. I think A&M is just going to be like the souped up version of their win over Texas on Wednesday night, where Texas, that win officially got them like where it's like, all right, this is back. They're back in the bubble. They're back on that radar. I think when they go beat A&M in College Station, that's going to be the night that it's like official, where it's like, all right, this is an NCAA tournament team. No more messing around. Like clearly they're going to the tournament. And then you'll get to go play with house money at Auburn and likely lose by 4. And then it works out perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
I really hope that Cal brings up that quick turnaround. That LSU game at 8 p.m. on Wednesday night and then a Saturday morning at 11 a.m. game against A&M on the road. Those quick turnarounds, man, it's going to be tough on them. So, yeah, they got business taken care of. That LSU game, by the way, folks, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. because every other game Arkansas plays is going to be late, and it's going to be on ESPN2. It's going to be on the Deuce. So get some revenge there for that game.
Disgusting.
Which, yeah, it sucks. Dre asks, "Are y'all going to be at the LSU game?"
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I think I'll probably be there. I saw Andres said that he's bringing his daughter. I think it's his daughter's first game.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see what the crowd looks like. I think it'll be a good crowd. I mean, maybe not the one that Bama saw and all of that, but I'll be curious to see how that all plays out and how it all looks.
Folks seem feels like they've kind of embraced this team at this point. Like it won't be a crazy packed house or anything. But I bet it'll be a good crowd and lively in that sucker. So
post church.
Yeah, maybe have the elders of your church put a little earlier scheduled service, so you can get to the game on time. I did like this from Camo Gang, since we're talking about Bud Walton. He's talking about the PA dude. He's like probably went through 2 gases of powder Saturday night. He did good though. Talking about I guess our guy Corey over there who they had some little different changes and everything. He's the guy that does the gymnastics meets and he gets hyped, man. He has the energy, but I don't know. I don't know what you guys thought. I know you talked about, but I thought the atmosphere was great on Saturday. Like as good as I've seen it this year, at least. I thought it was awesome.
It was really loud. You can tell that Bud Walton Arena is locked in when they're on the officials on like the first possession. But in fairness, it felt like Arkansas. It was Thero and I can't remember who else was down there with him, but it was like 3 or 4 different opportunities right there at the rim. You just thought they got fouled every time and never got the whistle. And as soon as people were on those officials, I was like, all right, this is going to be good. And I know people were ticked about folks leaving early and everything, but I bet folks were leaving that Texas game when Arkansas got up 20 on them in the second half, and then they came back and almost beat Arkansas. Well, they get within 5 or whatever, but they made a run. So people were probably like, oh, I wish I would have stayed. That stuff happens, man. But I thought it was a charged up crowd, man. They were freaking loud. The only thing, and maybe I just get too caught up in paying attention to the game or whatever, is there like an extreme lack of hog calls at these games nowadays?
Yep.
Like I feel like you would get like 10 a game in the past. Like this is a battle and everything, different stoppages in play, momentum swings and stuff. And I remember one before tip and then maybe one during the game. Like I don't know.
They had a few when like they took a time when anytime the opposing team takes a timeout, or if Arkansas went on a run. Like I think there was like 2 or 3 more than that. But yeah, it's weird, and it's because I honestly truly believe it's because people feel like everything's so organized with like we're going to play this music here and do this segment, and it's kind of like people don't know really what to do.
They need to replace these horrible attempts at swag surfing with just another hog call. They've got to stop doing it, man.
Yeah.
Start calling the hogs during reviews. That'll help.
There we go.
There's plenty of those. So there'd be plenty of hog calls if that's the case. Yeah, do it that way. And the swag surfing, man. I just thought about it. I have a video that popped up on my time hop of when Arkansas beat number 1 Auburn, and I was taking a video of the arena's like swag surfing. I'm like, God, that was 3-4 years ago, and they're still trying to do this stuff. It's like, just let it rest. Try something else. Do a little something different there. But what was I going to say about with the officials and when they get on them, man, they need a common enemy there in Bud Walton Arena, and they definitely found them with old Doug Schowes and his staff. So
never fails.
Yeah, man, never fails. All right, and speaking of that, let's go ahead and jump also into your SEC update presented by Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com. Use promo code HOGSBY20. Get 20% off your very first purchase. Great apparel over there for athleisure wear. No matter if it's the tops or the bottoms or if it's the men and the women. They got it all for you, so check it out at Rhoback.com. Guys, we'll get into the scores real quick from the SEC, but how about this? The AP Top 25 got it released. Auburn lost, and it's still number 1. So
it should be.
I know. I agree 100%. I just think it's funny because I'd like to know how many times in the history of the AP poll has the number 1 team lost and remained at number 1. Like, I just feel like that never happens.
Probably when number 2 also lost.
That helps.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that their resume is just so crazy. They've got like 4 more quad 1 wins than anybody else, and they built up a cushion for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I was checking it out too. If you want to know, since it's the SEC update, Florida has reached number 3, and Tennessee is number 5. So 4 of the top 5 teams in the country are from the SEC, and Texas A&M comes in at number 8 in the country. So, yeah, it feels like it almost feels like it's college baseball. 5 of the top 10 teams are from the SEC, and rightfully so.
So the SEC is going to have all 4 1 seeds.
I hope that'd be really fun.
That would be
another L, and then
dude, I would love that so much. People would have the epic meltdown that people would have. Would just
and
be
none of them make the Final Four.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's what happens.
That would definitely be the other part of that.
Yeah. But also Kentucky comes in at number 15. You have Ole Miss at 19, Missouri at 21, and Mississippi State at 22. So
Kentucky, I mean, really? They just get
one spot.
Yeah, they get their doors blown off at Ole Miss, but we're not going to drop them at all because you beat the worst team in the conference. I don't know. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, if Kentucky only dropped 1 spot, Auburn probably should have gotten promoted. On top of number 1 for theirs.
Yeah, like give them a bye week where no matter what happens, they're going to stay at number 1, something like that. Yeah. I know. I saw that too, and it was like, okay, well, maybe just a bunch of teams lost. I don't know how all that works, but still, it was funny to see. Yeah, they get wrecked pretty easily, and they beat South Carolina 80-57 over the weekend. So I know we were talking about on Friday how funny it would have been if they lost. They didn't, but still, it was fun to hope for. But we mentioned Auburn taking their first L of the SEC season, and honestly, Florida's a really good team, and they're the ones that beat them, and that's why they're number 3. But man, I wouldn't have expected Auburn to lose at home. That was the one thing that I thought was kind of crazy. Alabama and Auburn, the 2 SEC teams with 1 loss, where both their losses came at home. Just think that's interesting from that.
It is. And Florida wasn't even at full strength. They didn't have Elijah Martin in that game. So
wait a minute. Hold on. I was told that if you have someone out in your game, you can't play better. That's what Kentucky fans were telling me about when I having Lamont Butler and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's the rumor out there. It helps when you have Walter Clayton and like 15 7-footers that you can throw out there. But yeah, that was a crazy game, man. They punched him in the face, and I'm going to be pretty interested to see what the next week looks like for Auburn. I think they go to Vandy. I could be wrong about that, but I think they do. But then they've got I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule now. Yeah, their next game is at Vanderbilt, and that's tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
And then before they play Arkansas, the Alabama Crimson Tide on the road.
Yep. So, I kind of hope they win both and start feeling good about themselves again.
I do too. I was wanting them to be undefeated at that point, but no.
Yeah, well, you just feel like lightning's not going to strike twice.
No. And that because Auburn plays Vanderbilt, which I feel like they should probably win that game. And then Alabama plays Texas on the road, which I think that they'll win that. They're going to do whatever they can to make sure that the Alabama and Auburn Iron Bowl is number 1 versus number 2 on that Saturday. Like, they're going to make sure of that.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. Isn't that already kind of set?
Yeah, it's a done deal anyway.
Oh, I guess that is true.
It's because it's Saturday. Yeah. That's by the way, does this remind you all a little bit of whenever Mississippi State and Ole Miss were number 1 and number 2 that one year in college football? This is kind of like that where we're like, holy cow. Yeah. Auburn and Bama.
I know. Just who would have thought that 10 years ago that'd be the case one day, but here they are. So yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how that plays out. But also some other scores of note. Oklahoma gets smoked by Tennessee 70-52. They're in Norman. How about Texas A&M, though? Shout out to them. Again, one of the reasons why they moved up. Going on the road to Missouri, who is a good team, and getting the victory 67-64 over the Missouri Tigers.
Wade Taylor put it on them. You'll see a late shot.
Yes.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive.
And in fact, every time I see Wade Taylor now, I'm just going to think of Andrew. Every single time. Just saying, oh, they're better. They shouldn't be playing. They need to be better without him. So. But
he had that clutch gene in him at Mizzou, at least.
He better watch out because if Arkansas goes in there and beats A&M in College Station, I'm going to be pushing that for sure. This is the year of the guard whose team is better without him.
Seems that way, man.
Yes,
Siegler.
Just make that happen. Yeah. There were some close games though. Mississippi State goes on the road to Georgia, ekes out the 1-point victory, 76-75. And Ole Miss got all they wanted from LSU, 72-70. They got the victory there in Baton Rouge, and they were down in this one. I think they hit at least if I remember correctly, they hit like a big three towards the end of the game to take the lead there. So some close calls for the two Mississippi teams on the road against teams that like LSU's not very good, but Georgia's kind of there. I mean, they got the good net ranking and everything, but still getting the victories there and building that. And then Vanderbilt beats Texas at home, 86-78.
Texas sucks, man.
They do.
If they wind up making the tournament, I'm going to be really, really surprised. They're not.
Well, it's weird with them and Vanderbilt because I saw some people that were like, "Oh man, we needed Texas to beat Vanderbilt," but I'm like, I think Texas is a very good threat to miss the tournament now, and they're projected right now as a tournament team, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I mean, like, if you're just looking at Arkansas's kind of in that first four out, you're looking up, and you need a couple teams to come out. I think Texas is a prime candidate, and Arkansas plays them at home. So I think if Arkansas fans could have their way, really, you want Texas to just go ahead and keep losing.
Yeah, it would be nice. I wouldn't be against it if that happened. So, but yeah, gonna have some good games tomorrow night actually in the SEC slate. I know we'll talk about that then, but once again, the SEC is proving that it is the best conference in college basketball right now with the amount of teams that they just continue to have in the top 10, and in this case, top 5 as well. So. All right, so let's go ahead and keep it moving, and we'll get into the best and worst of the weekend, folks, where we give our highlights and lowlights of the weekend. And if you're interested in doing any sponsorships or partnerships with us here at Inside Arkansas, this is one of the segments that is open. But we also have that as well as opportunities with Bombastic Podcast as well as Pod at the Palace. So hit me up at john@insidearkansas.com if you're interested in partnering up with us. We appreciate everybody being a part of it. All right, guys, I'll go ahead and start with my best of the weekend. Shout out to our guy, Rick Pitino. I say our guy, but it's just because he's just awesome. And this question and earmuffs for the kids out there was just an awesome exchange in this press conference from over the weekend from a big victory.
In November, I would have told you 21-3 and 12-1 in the Big East. What would you have said? I mean, are you surprised?
I would have said, how the fuck did we lose that one game?
Just awesome stuff there from Rick.
Attaboy.
Yeah, just dropping an F-bomb. And I guess that's what you can do when you're, only lost one game and you got a top 10 team at St. John's. So,
yeah, that was awesome. That was really good. What a win by them too, man, to go to UConn and get that one done. That is a tough basketball team he's got over there. And he's good for those sound bites. They beat like Marquette or something, I think, earlier in the week, and he was asked how great is it to coach this team or whatever, and he's like, hey, it's great because they give me everything they've got, but when they shoot free throws, I want to kill myself. And he's funny, man.
Is he one of and I'm honestly asking this about him, like, there's some coaches that are just good at recruiting and some coaches that maybe are just like that dude is just transcended time. Like where the game just has not passed him. We see it happen all the time, but man, this dude's in his 70s and he's got a top 10 team at St. John's. Like that dude's just incredible.
Yeah. No, he's the real deal, man. No
They've been
I'd
say they're the most lovable team in the country. Like just when I talk to random people who are college basketball fans, everyone's betting on St. John's. Everyone loves St. John's. Like they've just they've captured the heart of the country. And Rick, obviously, in a weird way, has had a great PR turn where I feel like he was a villain for a while. He didn't feel like a villain anymore. He's gone soft.
It's bad too. Yeah. Because he was like the original Godfather type of figure, in college basketball for all of that. But
it's true.
Yeah, dude's a good coach though. But that was one of mine. Another one I wanted to real quick throw out. Just saying, shout out to Jordan Weber and those gymnastics Razorbacks, those gym backs upsetting Florida, number 2 Florida on that Friday night. I went to that one too. I guess I'm going to say I'm the lucky charm. They've upset number 2 LSU and then number 2 Florida in the times that I've been there. So I guess I just got to keep going to those gymnastics meets. They are a lot of fun though, by the way, folks, you haven't been, but shout out to them. I'm learning so much about the gymnastics community. That's really frustrating because apparently like an upset like that does not matter as far as, where your placement is and your seating and all that. Apparently it's about individual scores. I don't know, but I thought it was just like this really cool thing. It's like, oh man, they're going to jump up in the polls. Nope. That's not how it works. So, but still awesome to see them get the big upset there.
Well, they will jump up in the polls, but because they scored 197, 175, like if Florida could have scored 198 or something like that, which would have beat Arkansas and been like, one of the top 3 scores in the country, they would have just both kind of gotten a bump from that. Like last year, what happened with Arkansas, I think they went 5-5 total, like in their meets, but they scored so well. They were a top 10, group, but like they're going to get a bump just because that was their best. I think that was their highest score of the year. 197, 175.
Yeah. Which is what I understood. And now, but I guess it was just more of like, I look at it in the mindset of like, oh, you got to win, therefore you go up. It doesn't matter how you did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's not that way, which is fine. I'm just learning. I'm learning new stuff about the gymnastics.
They need to take it on the road is what they really need to do. Because last week, because they dropped a pretty good bit last week when they scored like 195 something. Like they had like their worst performance of the year. Again, it's harder on the road, but they need to stay at that 197 range and be able to carry it on the road. But they're fun to watch, and Weber's done a good job. It wasn't like an overnight. They just became awesome. Like they've been building year by year for like 5-6 years now.
Program builder, Jordan Weber.
Yeah. The Deifel plan, as we call it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, real quick, last thing I'll say on it is that apparently gym Reddit is a thing. Like you go to gymnastics on Reddit, and apparently they're saying that Bud Walton's got some sort of thing where it makes it really difficult for some of these big teams to perform because of the atmosphere and because of the I don't know. That was just thought that was interesting. I couldn't tell you what it was, but still. But shout out to them. Good job for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Dickie V, man, gets a best of the weekend, right? Great to see him back. That dude is he's really gone through it, and for him to be able to get back out there and call a game, was just awesome to see, and 2, it did make me happy. It just so happened to be a Duke loss that that he was calling there. So that was pretty cool. I see this from Camo Gang. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to give Red Panda a best of the weekend just because it's so nostalgic and so cool to see. And it had Bud Walton Arena going. But yes, there were some bobbles there. It's kind of, it's like Michael Jordan with the Wizards, like it's not quite the same, but it's still really cool and brings back a lot of awesome memories. But there were multiple drops there, and it just shows you that everybody's human, like we all make mistakes. But that was pretty sweet, man, to see that there. And she's going to be in Creighton for tomorrow's game that they play. So it's just a world traveler, Red Panda.
I'll never know. I wonder how much she makes, like per event, because she has. I'm sure she makes a great living because she's been around for so long, and I've always appreciated the Red Panda, and I wish I could just get her down with an interview and just be like, what made you decide to have a career where you throw bowls on your head on a tricycle? Like just fascinating stuff there. But yeah, that was a good one too for sure. What about you, Andrew?
So I've got a couple, both of which are diamond related. I've got to start with the baseball side because, of course, it's just my thing. Y'all, John, you don't know this. I got some news for you, buddy. The Hogs play baseball this week. Friday afternoon, Arkansas baseball plays official games, the real deal. So we got our last weekend of preseason action, which I appreciated them condensing it into 2 games on Saturday. It was just it was a fun day at the yard. Good to see the team play. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and do all the takeaways. I did recaps if everybody wants to go check those out. But I feel like we have more clarity than ever. All offseason, we're sitting there in the summer. You look at the roster they have. Okay, the fall happens, and you're trying to maybe assess the lineup. Maybe this guy will start here. But it's really been a revolving door of like, I've changed my mind 17 different times on who's going to start at first, who's going to start in the outfield, who's going to be DH. I feel like Saturday is the closest we've come to actually knowing who all is going to start, who's going to be the starting pitchers. We kind of settled on that now, although the people in Batesville are going to yell at me if I keep saying it. But so I'm not gonna say who those 3 starters are. But the starting lineup scored 12 runs the other day. Just good to see guys starting to get going a little bit. Brent Iredale's good. Bahiva Aloy homered. Kendall Diggs continues to look amazing. And so my best of the weekend was watching the Razorback baseball team. That's always fun. But while I was watching, I want to shout out this woman, Carla, who came up to me and she just came over. She's like, hey, I just want to, say what's up. love what you do. You're doing a great job. Respect. And she was like, but I really wish you would kind of cover the softball team, because like I feel like you're doing a great job and you're promoting baseball. She's like, but I really feel like softball needs someone like that. And I basically told her, I was like, I'm not going to be that guy, but I will shout them out as much as I can because it's just really hard. I go all in on baseball. I watch every single pitch, every single game, every single minute. Like I pride myself on being as tapped in as possible. And I just don't think I can commit to that with softball, mostly just because of the schedule overlap. And so I kind of shy away from it because I don't want to just like half-assedly cover it a little bit. But anytime they play well, I'm going to, of course, note it on my best of the weekend. They started their season this past weekend, go 5-0. If my math is correct, they gave up 4 runs in 5 games total.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. Bree Ellis, not my cousin, but I'm gonna continue to call her my cousin. Is hitting 500 with 3 home runs so far, so off to a tremendous start. Wears number 77 for Luca, so shout out to her as well. Good for the softball program, who's going to be really good. They're going to be top 10 like all year.
Yeah, I just hope they get to not Omaha, Oklahoma City. Yeah, get to Oklahoma City. That's like the one thing that's really missing to get to that point.
Everyone's goal: get to Oklahoma City.
That's what everyone wants in their life. To get to the OKC. But no, I mean, it's amazing that baseball season is here and all of that too. So I mean, that's exciting. I know people are pumped up for that, and man, it's going to be. I don't know what the weather looks like this weekend. I'm sure it's not good. It's not going to be probably very warm, but they're still going to be out there still playing baseball. So it's going to be awesome. In fact, we had somebody say Batesville girl here. Be nice, Andrew. So
it's kind of crazy, dude. Like I've had like several people reach out to me and be like, "Hey, man, I don't know why you're still talking about this starting rotation. It's obviously Gage Wood. He's obviously going to be in the starting rotation," and like get really kind of annoyed whenever I say Landon Beidelshees is going to be the Sunday starter. I feel like this weekend we kind of wrap that up, but both guys are going to start this week because they play 4 games, and so maybe that changes here in the next week or so. But I was to the point where I was like kind of like feeling bad, where I'm like, damn, should I just like lie and say that they're going to go a different direction? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, also I love the where was it at? I should have started. I meant to start it, but people talking about baseball starting up this weekend too, and all that. I was gonna. Oh yeah. So I'm sure you're gonna get this, Andrew. Who's gonna be the player that's gonna have the Caleb Cali, Aloy year where they start off slow, but then they catch fire later?
I think you got to keep your eye on all the Cali boys and the Hawaiians, because you look at Vahiva out there, dude. You would think that they're like we're in Antarctica.
Straight tundra, man.
It's like 45 degrees, and he's like dressed like he's about to go skiing. And I'm like, brother, it's not that cold. And so you got to keep your eye on those guys. Vahiva got off to a little bit of a slow start last year. I think it takes, those guys are better in warm weather. Vahiva did have a very good, like 420-foot home run. But I think a lot of those guys, like I think Souza, Aloy, Helfrich, even Gackle, he didn't look like he was having that much fun throwing in the cold the other day. I think all those guys are going to be maybe the slow starters that everyone freaks out. And people start yelling at me when Nolan Souza goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts on opening day.
I love those moments. It's going to be so much fun when all that happens. Yeah, I thought about we should just start a new segment of just be like, who's going to be this year's this guy? Just because that I feel like every year there's going to be who's going to be this year's, Kevin Kopps. There's sometimes there's just players that don't have to have this year's type of thing. It's just that. All right. So for my worst of the weekend, I only have a few of them here. Other than losing luggage and sickness, it's what I've been dealing with. But when I was at the game, there were some Alabama fans that were there. And, of course, some of them made the remarks about the barbecue sauce and everything. I was like, man, that's crazy. But there was a group of 4 behind us. It was like a family. I understand. You get into the game, right? We all get into the game. We're all, we feel like, hey, if there's a bad call, we get mad. These people did not shut up about every single play, every single time. I'm not kidding. Every single possession. There was either a travel that didn't get called, a foul that didn't get called. And these are Bama fans. And I'm like, okay, I get if you go to the game, be intense, be into it. But every single trip down the floor does not require some sort of yelling of a comment of travel when it's not clearly not travel. Like every single time that Alabama drove the basket, they're like, and one. It's like, nope, it wasn't. They didn't even get touched, and that's why they didn't call a foul. So that's just one of my pet peeves at games is just, I get it. I say stuff to the officials too. It's fine. But when it's every single trip down the court, just relax. Just watch the game. It's like, I feel like you don't even like the game of basketball if that's the way you're watching it. So that was just really annoying to me and really killed a little bit of my vibe. But yeah, just a pet peeve of mine.
The obnoxious road fan is a pet peeve of mine too. We had people thanking us at the Kentucky game for not being just loud and, belligerent the entire game. I don't know. Like it just bothers me. I get it. Like if you traveled and paid for your ticket and everything, like by all means cheer for your team and everything. But it seems like folks really want you to know sometimes that they're there. It gets annoying. That's why you see those fights in the stands sometimes, because other drunk people get pissed off and they don't want to deal with it. But yeah, the constant thing, it's like, God, give it a freaking rest, please.
Yeah. And also I meant to throw this in. Arkansas, they're going to get comments about a pig. Mm-hmm. And this guy I guess he thought he was so funny because he was part of the group every single time that, when they went on that run, Alabama got up that big lead. He's like, it ain't barbecue chicken tonight. It's barbecue pork, barbecue pork, barbecue pork. Bacon, baby. Where you at, bacon? It's like, I hate everything about you, and I want you to not exist in my vicinity.
It is funny that they were asking you about the barbecue analogy with Grant Nelson when he was quite literally barbecue chicken on the defensive end of the floor from start to finish in that game. Yep. Whether it was Thero or Z, like he was just the boy got cooked all night. Yep. But hey, whatever. They got the win. So
good for them. I'm sure.
Yeah. Congratulations, fellas. I have a handful, but I'll stick to just a couple of them right now because I don't know what Andrew's got. But one for me, just on the fan thing, just not Big Blue Nation as a whole, but the folks from BBN who crawled out from under the rock, out of hiding, because you beat the worst team in the conference and Arkansas lost by fewer points than you did to Alabama, and we're just being complete idiots in the post game and on Twitter and everything. It's like, all right, like I know you've really had a hard time with your humble pie here. Not sure that this is the flex you think it is, kind of deal. So and a lot of them are still cool and nice and everything, but just more than I expected came back out of the woodworks Saturday night, and I'm like, all right, come on now. So that was one, and then for those who bet on the over-under on the national anthem link, the people who had the unders just got to be really upset because the man was on track. It was going to be close, but he was on track for the under, and then he hit the land of the free 3 times. He did it 3 times and wound up going way over. I was sitting there at Andrews and I was timing it. When he ran it back for the trifecta, I was like, oh, so people are losing real money for this. Because he had to put his own spin on the damn anthem. So I thought it was funny, but I saw a lot of people on the old socials that were like, what the heck, man? So
the national anthem is now an auto over. I learned my lesson with Demi Lovato back in the day. I went back and watched like 7 Demi Lovato national anthem performances, and she had gone under on all of them. Gets to the Super Bowl, all of a sudden them notes start lingering a little bit longer, start putting on a show. It's an auto over until they set the line at like 2.5 minutes. And eventually they will. I just kind of, I don't have a definitive like thing to say about the Super Bowl. I have it in my worst of the weekend because I just feel like nobody enjoyed it. Except for Hillary, who had Saquon Barkley as her fantasy running back and just kind of has the personality of a person from Philadelphia, so she just adopted him. She loved the Eagles. She was fired up. She wore green to work today because all of her coworkers are Chiefs fans, and so she kind of wanted to rub it in their face. But everybody I read on the internet is like mad at the Super Bowl, mad at the halftime show, mad at the commercials. I feel like this Super Bowl just did not hit the target audience. And maybe it's just because we are surrounded by a lot of Chiefs fans, but I thought people would be celebrating the downfall of the Chiefs more. But everything I read on the internet, people are just pissed about the Super Bowl.
Yeah. What about the score bug?
Horrible. Yeah. Now that actually does suck.
Yeah, what the heck was that all about?
Yeah, listen, I understand simplicity sometimes can be like good, but dude, the amount of money and amount of people watching this thing, just maybe spend a little bit on the presentation and including the score bug. Like, come on, man. Like, I looked like something I used in Canva when I just hit the background remover thingy. It's like,
Yeah.
score bug. There it is. Like, that's what it reminded me of. So, yeah, that was that. Well, okay. So I actually have another real quick one to go with what you guys were saying with dealing with the national anthem. I know it's been talked about. I tweeted about it. Can we stop with the stupid home of the Chiefs and the Dallas Stars stuff in the national anthem at Razorback games? Please, folks.
This is a regional university now, John.
I'm not coming to you as some old man yelling at clouds and be like, this is America. I'm not saying it that way. I'm just saying it's dumb. It's so dumb. Stop doing it, please. If you want to do it at the Chiefs games, do it at Chiefs games. If you want to do it at Stars games, do it at the Stars games. That's fine. But it's so stupid when you got the dude who is an awesome national anthem singer, by the way, out there on Saturday.
Andrew Washington, he's the GOAT.
Yes, dude, incredible. And it sucks when he is hitting it and then that big crescendo happens and you hear a bunch of moron, golly, man, just stop, please. All I want to say.
I don't like it either. I am bothered by the Chiefs thing less because it's at the very end. The Stars, like you're still in the middle of the song, like it just
well, then that also, but then,
and I don't remember the Stars one being a thing until like recently.
Me either.
Yeah. And but on the other side of that, at least like the Stars is still like a part of the lyrics of the song. It's not like in the home of the Brave, and they're home of the Chiefs. No, it's the home of the Brave, you idiots. It's like,
also,
sorry.
Even if y'all were saying Hogs, even if you were like, oh, the Razorbacks, it sucks no matter what you put in there.
Yes.
Just let the song play out, dude.
Yes.
Like, just let it play out. Like, I don't know. It just is a very bizarre thing. I knew the Chiefs thing for a while. I didn't know the Stars thing was a thing until literally like a week ago.
Same. Yeah. Like, we got to stop this. We have to stop this. But you know what sucks is there's no way. Like, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like John George is going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, during the singing of tonight's national anthem, please do not say the word Chiefs or Stars in the middle of the song. Thank you. Like, it's not going to happen.
This is a classic Two Americas moment where it's like, you just realize that some of these people that go to these games just live completely different lives, talk to very different people, experience very different things in this beautiful world that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure Francis Scott Key, when he was writing the national anthem, that's what he wanted. He wanted a bunch of drunk frat guys in their oversized hoodies. He'd be like, yeah, Chiefs, get some mozzarella sticks, get another beer.
Francis Scott Key probably would have been appalled at the idea of a black man singing the national anthem the way that Andrew Washington did the other day. I don't think that was in his vision, if I'm being honest with you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Hey, but Andrew, have we talked about Andrew Washington on this show before?
I don't think so.
He's the man, and I just want to point out that his father's name is DC Washington and sings the national anthem at Washington, D.C., or Washington Nationals games. So this is a national anthem family.
That's big time. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. How does one get into the family business of singing the national anthem at sporting events?
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because our buddy Robert Stewart is from D.C. and went to Arkansas, which, as did Andrew Washington. He grew up going to Nationals games, hearing DC Washington, and then goes to Arkansas and hears his son. It's actually like a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about the Stars, talked about the Chiefs. It never fails. I like it when the crowd is good. I like to get the first hog call and, throw it up on Twitter or whatever. It gets people going. But every time it winds up getting flooded with comments of who's howling. This ain't Arkansas State. Ain't no Wolves, Dude. Listen, let me be clear. I am not promoting the weirdness and cult activity of Texas A&M, but they have yell practice. Okay. Maybe we need hog call practice. I don't know. Like maybe there just needs to be a tutorial on what to do and what not to do, but it cracks me up how bent out of shape people get. It even happens. I'll even see people on like press row who you'll hear the, "Ow!" and they're just like, what these kids doing?
Is tough, yeah.
Well, here's my thing, and I'm going to be that guy. I do not care. I do not care if you howl or if you don't, because is anyone going to be like, hey, wait a minute, That's not calling the hogs. That's something else. They started with that howl thing. The hog call I know just does woo. No, they know it's the hog call. Just
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah,
Like
hogs
that's
don't
the type
even
of
make that
thing-
noise. Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't change anything. It's just like again, and I'm you're coming from the guy who literally complains about the smallest of things over here. Like I do.
Yeah.
That's all I do. But like that to me is one thing where it's like you said, Curtis. Every time I've ever posted a hog call, it's like, "Here the freaking students over here talking about ranting with the big howling and the coyotes." It's like, okay, thank you. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, it does not matter. Does not matter.
But do
So-
y'all agree? Only 2 O's for woo.
1,000% agree.
Yeah.
1,000% agree. That I hate the fact they use 3 woes. So stupid. They did that during the Jeff Long era and Brett Bielema. And I remember I got in trouble on Twitter from my boss because I made the joke that they're adding an O for every 100 pounds that Brett Bielema gains.
Hey man,
Oh,
all we got to do
wow.
is take John back to his days as a student, and we get him fired up. But we can get him fired up, man.
It's just I get so irritated because I think it's just because I've heard it for so long that I just get tired of it. It's like, I'm just like I know, like every single time it's going to happen. I know. But yes, let's see. By the way, apparently Camo Gang and everybody's saying that Red Panda is getting. No, that's not that. It's Dre said $5K per performance.
Yeah, and was she out there for like 10 minutes, if even that?
Yeah, not bad.
Shelling out $5K for Red Panda to drop things, but we
Just
can't.
fumbling the bowls, man.
We're
Yeah.
sitting here begging the fans to triple
She
their
did-
donation.
She did eventually hit the finale, and that was awesome. But yeah, there were a couple of drops there. One time where she's just like, "Ah, shucks," from the 12-foot tall unicycle. But
I feel like she should get deducted money. You know, like it's like, hey, for every drop, there goes $1,000. You know, you
yeah,
can't have that.
man.
Yeah.
I wish I could just like, flip those things onto my head standing on ground, maybe, or just like be able to successfully ride a unicycle or something. But so
That'd
who
be
am I to
cool.
say anything?
Any of the
But,
moves that she can do, you'd like to take any of them?
yeah, any of those things. But yeah,
Also, Camo Gang says, hey, y'all got to get Johnny some new game day sneakers. Them Air Force Ones need a game off so bad. First off, okay. Like,
That's crazy, dude.
hold on a second. Like, my man,
oh, that's
I'm wearing shoes that are Razorback shoes, and I don't post pictures of me wearing those shoes. So that means you've seen me, and every single time you look at my shoes, and I don't think you've ever come up and said hi to me. So I don't know, but no,
John,
I'm not.
you
Like,
gotta-
what does that mean?
You got to give them. You got to let them babies breathe, man. Just give them a break. I guess.
I guess so.
I honestly didn't really like. I didn't. Do you wear them like I guess every game day? I guess I haven't noticed them enough.
Yeah, I mean, I wear when I go to a Razorback game as a fan, I wear them, like because they're. I mean, I'm sorry, there's not a whole lot of assortment of Razorback shoes that you can wear, and they were a really cool gift, and I like them. They're comfortable. So shut up, Camo Gang.
They are
Let me
good
wear my
shoes.
Hell,
Be clear about
It's
that.
the only footwear that he has at this point. The rest of them are in some pawn shop in Lexington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably on the back of a truck somewhere. Heading to
Yeah,
God
man.
knows where. Like, come on, yeah, exactly. Jeez. And then also I wanted to address this too because Davin says John Neighbors just became a Razorback beat person. That was a great rant. I'm not a beat person. I don't know what beat person means, but I'm not that. But thank you. I think
Anyone who has a voice gets lumped into the whole thing. You could be a beat man, a reporter. Sometimes they call you a big J journalist. Sometimes they call this radio, and it's not. You know what I mean? Like we're all just.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know what the actual word would be. Media,
it-
even I don't know. But
Is there
mobile.
is there something y'all have been called that you don't like? Like when it comes to not anything like obviously offensive things, but I'm saying like that someone's referred to you in your career as that you're just like, no, I'm not that. That's not what I am.
I used when we first started this, I would get a little irritated when it's like, oh, that guy's a YouTuber or that guy's a podcaster. I just feel like it's kind of a narrow point of what we're doing. And the
Yeah.
only reason is like I don't want to be lumped into like the like some of those idiot streamers. You know what I mean? Like we have a specific purpose that we're trying to follow here. It's not like the I don't even know some of those guys' names. We were talking about them last night. That they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their house and, you know, they'll just have like sleepovers at their do really, really stupid shit. And yeah, like we're not that, so that used to bother
We're
me. It doesn't
adults.
anymore, but yeah.
We're adults over here.
I don't think I get worked up over like stuff that people call me, at least in the relation to my job. It's usually when they say other mean things about me, whether it's my appearance or my personality or just anything. It's usually when they take attacks in other ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I like when I was in radio, when and this is not an insult, but people would call me sometimes a disc jockey. And I'm like, that's not what I am. Like, I'm not a disc jockey. I'm not playing music and, doing that. So, or a DJ. They say, call me a radio DJ. I was like, I'm not that. So
yeah, this is what I don't want to be. Is the
Logan
Logan
Paul
Paul.
what is that? Okay, so can y'all? I know who Logan Paul is, but like, what does that mean?
It's because he started off as like an internet personality, YouTuber, Viner.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah, I
big
remember the
Vine.
Vine stuff. Bring
Was it
back
him or-
Vine.
Was it him or Jake that went to like the forbidden suicide garden thing?
That was Logan.
Was it Logan? Yeah, that was
the first time I ever heard of him, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not very good, man. That's not a good thing to do.
But now that I think about it, like what do we call this? Like what?
We're men of God. That's what we are.
Yeah.
I refer to myself as a BS artist.
Different is
Because I mean, here's the thing: it's like we're tapping into all different levels. So maybe sportscaster, broadcaster, something like that. Maybe all knowing, all powerful, something. I don't know.
Should we get nominated next year when they do the Sportscaster of the Year? I feel like we should.
Yeah, I think we should.
Still
I
won't
mean,
get
if they judge
still won't
it
get
based on people who cast about sports and people watch it, I know that like. Do they give those awards to people that have zero audience? If they want to one day give it to someone who actually does have an audience, I think we would definitely fit the criteria.
Yeah. And also I want to make clear that I'm not saying those things as in like I look at them in a bad way, but if someone calls me a journalist, I feel like that's like when I think of Bob Holt, rest in peace. Like, I'm not a journalist. That's a journalist. Like,
we definitely don't play by those rules. So
no, we don't.
And we don't really write anymore either. I know. I mean, John, that was never your thing, but
Yeah, I'd say you saw some of my articles. It was not my thing.
You probably had the most read article that we ever did with Natty State when you
I was just about
on
to say,
BBN.
I've seen your work here recently.
Yeah, and trust me, they kept bringing it up, but I haven't seen it linked again or retweeted again for some reason. I don't know, went missing, I guess. So Dalton's over here says if y'all ever need the Arkansas version of Alex Jones, hit me up. Don't know if we want to go that route just yet, but we'll keep you in mind.
I like it.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. And then Hickory Hog 94 says a tutorial on the hog call sounds like a job for Hogs Plus. They could use their propaganda for good for once. Wow.
That again comes back to the no audience thing. Like, they could do it, but then like that footage would just go by the wayside.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, but who's going to be like, hey guys, we need to all pay attention. Let's watch this tutorial.
Let's all tap in on Hogs Plus tonight. That's a sentence that has never been uttered in a group chat before.
Guys, I know we'll get to BetSaracen and talking about a weekend recap and everything, but I got to bring this up. I tweeted, during the show, I like to live tweet out kind of like what our discussions are and everything. Well, I tweeted out about, yelling the Chiefs and the Stars during the national anthem. Hey, that's what we're talking about. If you could bank on one person who tweeted at me in reply to this tweet, and that we all know, who seems to rant about this all the time.
Hutch.
Boom. Hutch.
Yeah.
Yes.
He says, quote.
He's on the right side, though, right?
He is. But he's like, these people, mostly students, have got to stop it. Same with the yelling stars for the Dallas Stars. This isn't Kansas City. This isn't Dallas. It's not even football or hockey. End of my old man rant. And I'm like, Hutch, I thought of you as soon as I brought this up because I know he's passionate.
Yeah, me too.
Not going to be his last old man rant. Dude, Hutch takes this stuff personally, dude. When people do stuff that Hutch doesn't like, he really takes it as like a personal attack. I always appreciate his fire in these conversations.
Yeah.
I sit by Hutch for years in there in Bud Walton on press row, and every single game he just the disdain. It cracks me up, man.
Well, he's credentialed on the right person because I felt the same way about Nate Allen when he was on the beat all the time. You talk about a dude that the national anthem, speaking of, that was my favorite thing seeing him is because, we're in there in the media section. He's always on the front row. And after the national anthem, you'll know what Nate felt about it because he'd clap if he liked it. But if he hated it, throw his hands like that and sit down. I was like, I always knew if it was going to be a good one or not based on Nate Allen's reaction to it. So,
Dude, Nate Allen has been responsible for some of my biggest belly laughs
Yes.
over the last 5 years being on
Dude.
the beat, man.
I
Crack
still
me
will
up.
go back and laugh so hard at that Sam Pittman Zoom thing. The audio's gone. Like right in the middle of Sam Pittman trying to give an answer. And then
Freaking legend.
Samuel Gray's just like, "It's up, Nate," and then he just started laughing. But yeah. Also, Gage says this says, "Happy birthday, Cal." Today's John Calipari's birthday.
66, boy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
how about that? How about that? What is that? An heiress? I don't know. I don't know signs.
Does this mean that Kenny Payne's going down to Sassy's, or you think they'll sing him happy birthday if he goes to his radio show? I wonder.
Do you think Cal?
There ain't no way he's going to that radio show tonight.
No.
And he shouldn't, frankly.
I just,
I mean,
there's certain things. I have a buddy of mine that this way that maybe you guys do too, where we think about them doing certain like kind of normal things and it just makes you laugh because you're like, oh, that's be so weird. Sometimes I feel that with John Calipari. Like if the whole place starts singing him happy birthday, I feel like he would be so uncomfortable and weird. Be like, hey, let's not do like, I don't know. He just, then that's something he would get into or like anything. Just sit
Is there anybody who's super comfortable when they're being sang happy birthday, though?
That's a good point too. Yeah.
Nobody's ever like, yeah, this is great.
No, just rolling it all in, like keep singing the second verse.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys or the people.
Okay.
That documentary starts tonight, right? The first
Right.
episode. How do you watch? Is Vice a channel? Do you stream this? Like what?
It's a state of mind, Vice is.
Because I don't know how this works. I had sworn off on watching this, but now that they've won some games, I feel a little bit better about being able to stomach it. So I want to check it out. I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah. I know that I think it's just either the app. It's on it. It has channels. Yeah.
There's people saying it's a channel. So like so it should be on like YouTube TV or whatever.
See, I'm looking at it now. It doesn't look like it
Hulu
is on YouTube.
Live.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's on Sling. It's on Dish Network, Xfinity. Something called Philo. I don't know what that is.
Maybe I'm not watching it.
Yeah. But you can also watch it live on their website too, Advice, if you wanted to like. Watch it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see how that goes. I guess I could finally address it and say it. I'm in it, so they talked to me about my student section days and how I was I hated John Calipari. So I don't know. I may not even make the cut. I may have done all that stuff, and they're like, "No, we're dropping this clown." So. But anyways, I'll be interested to see it. I really can't wait for the episode of when they filmed in Lexington. That's the one I'm really excited about. So, but yeah.
They were all over the place, man. I felt like every time we walked in an establishment, they were there doing some.
Yeah, and I felt bad for them too because they're documentaries and that's what they're doing. But when you talked about all the cameras that were with Cal, like when he walked on the court, they were probably like. I mean, because, usually documentary people, they get, just say they're here. And then suddenly the whole flooding of, the local journalists there and stuff, it was probably difficult at times to film, but
quite the gaggle that follows John Calipari around.
That's right.
If they wanted to get any Mark Pope footage, they could get that easily. There was nobody standing around that guy. There was 0 cameras on that man.
Yeah, in fact, they probably could have gotten like a one-on-one interview right there on the court.
Yeah.
Been able to hear him too.
Dude, nothing pleased me more than watching him having to elbow through multiple media guys just to get to Cal and shake his hand. He had to fight his way through the mob, dude. I was like, man, that's tough.
Yeah. And to answer your question, Dre, were you wearing those shoes when you were interviewed by Vice? Maybe. I guess you'll have to watch.
Might have been.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and we can recap with BetSaracen, the BetSaracen app, the #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas, folks. Download it on your iPhone or on your Android. You go to BetSaracen.com. Really appreciate them and their partnership. Got to talk with Carlton, our guy Carlton over there. He was at the game on Saturday. Courtside, Gucci Rose seats. So, of course, nothing but the best. But he's telling me some interesting things about this 50-50 bill that some idiot radio person or former radio person, he got fired, put up there and tried to, get passed, and it may not actually pass. So either way, be on the lookout.
Is that this week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's this week.
Wednesday
In fact, he tweeted. Carlton tweeted. In fact, find the tweet. So he says, says it's on Wednesday. It's the House rules that'll help the NIL. In reality, it's an attempt to shut the door on the meaningful NIL 50-50 drawings because because we saw it in Kentucky. I don't know if you guys saw it on the Jumbotron. They do a 50-50 raffle at Lexington for Kentucky and NIL. But the thing is that for that entire Arkansas-Kentucky game, for that 50-50 raffle, the payout for that NIL was $2,500. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel like you could get a guy like a Du Thero for $2,500. I don't think that's really moving the needle. But still, they're trying to make sure that does not get passed so they can actually have meaningful NIL. But yeah, so we'll keep you updated on that. It happens Wednesday. But in some other news too, though, so some things for the weekend recap. Wanted to bring up mainly from the Super Bowl, guys, because we haven't talked a whole lot about it. But I don't know. Like I could have used this as my worst of the weekend, kind of like what you talked about, Andrew. Everyone just gets pissed about the Super Bowl, and it's every year. I'm like, okay, I mean, it's just the way it is. People are going to be mad online. But I will say that seeing Taylor Swift get booed was really funny to me, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that immensely. And you could tell by the look on her face, she was like, wow, I guess they really hate me.
Doesn't happen much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, because they're a bunch of Philadelphia fans, especially, and they hate everybody. Because wasn't she like an Eagles fan? Is that what it was? Yeah.
She's from, I mean, I don't know if she's from Philadelphia, but like definitely grew up with some type of allegiance there.
Yeah. And to see, I'm sure that went into it a little bit too, but to see that happen kind of just made me happy because, yeah, she's not used to getting booed. And I enjoyed that part of it, at least from the Super Bowl. That and also Bill Belichick being in a commercial with his girlfriend that's like 24.
Yeah, the Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that one. I got a good belly laugh. I'm like,
that was probably one of the few good ones, I would say.
Yeah.
Dude.
I like the Mountain Dew one. Or that was when Seal was actually a seal because it was weird and trippy. And I like the Instacart one because with the wiener dogs in the hot dog costumes, plus the return of Puppy Monkey Baby, which is a legend in the Super Bowl commercial game. Those two I appreciated. They had way too much random facial hair coming off of bodies commercials, but you know.
Yeah, that was a tough one. You had back to back, or like not back to back, but like you had two of those.
Yeah, I think it was Pringles and Little Caesars.
Yeah, Little Caesars had the first one. Good guys eating the thing. Eugene Levy, and he had the eyebrows. Mm-hmm. And then Pringles ran with the mustache one. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
I bet when they saw that, they were like, they saw the eyebrow one, and they were like, damn it.
Yeah,
it was our big move.
Yeah. What did you what you guys is like most iconic, memorable Super Bowl commercial that you'll always reference, like in your life?
Keep your hands off my mama and keep your hands off my Doritos.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
Do you guys remember Terry Tate, the Office linebacker?
Office linebacker was fantastic.
I still will go back and crack up every time because it was like they had like a shortened version, but then they released a longer version on this thing called YouTube when it first came out. And man, it's just hysterical I don't know why. There's just something about when people just get hit, you know, and in funny ways. It just it always gives me a good laugh. So
yeah, no, that one was great. Being in St. Louis as much as I was in my life, anytime I see the Budweiser Clydesdales, like any of them, usually sticks with me. The Puppy Monkey Baby one, it's stupid and it's really weird, but it's just, I always think about it from a personal side because when I was teaching at Lindenwood, and there's like to get certified to be an athletic trainer, you got to pass a really hard. It's like the bar exam for athletic trainers or whatever. It's really hard, and you do a lot of studying for it. And it was the day after the Super Bowl, and we're having a study session. And kids get stressed out about it, like they be in there crying. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to pass this or whatever. And I just walked in and pulled up the Puppy Monkey Baby commercial on the projector. Complete vibe changer. All right, everybody was in a better mood, and it was like a turning point in the preparations for said exam. And I was getting texts about it from old students last night. It's like, oh God, Coach Will, it's Puppy Monkey Baby's back. Do you remember? I'm like, of course I remember. All right, this was my idea, but that's the only reason that one sticks out to me. So.
Yeah, I like that. I really like the Tim Tebow pro-life commercial from back in the day. But the one that really, for some reason, one that I always remember, because I did a project in college on this commercial. There was a commercial, and I think it was a Cheetos commercial, and it had Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, and they were and Shaggy, and they were singing "It Wasn't Me, It Wasn't Me." She caught me on the counter. That whole thing. I remember we had a project where we had to like pick one. It was like, I think the class was called Persuasive Communication, and it was about like advertising and whatever. And we had to pick one of the Super Bowl commercials and like detail all of like what happened in it and like what they were going for. And so I remember that one doing a project on that. And I always enjoyed that. And I love the song.
Yeah. No, that was because what made me think, Andrew, of the one that where it wasn't like, oh, this iconic legendary commercial, but just one that I appreciated was it was a Dr. Pepper commercial, and it was Meatloaf's song of I would do anything for love, because you know the lyrics of would do, and it shows the guy like doing like yoga with his wife, and then like him having to try on these things, wear like a man purse, like and it keeps going. I'll do but I won't do that is when she tried to share his Dr. Pepper. I was like, that's good.
Dr. Pepper also used to have a commercial with the song that was like, I want it all.
Yeah. Queen.
I want it. That was a good one too.
Yeah. So sometimes it doesn't have to be just about people getting hit and being funny. It's just about landing.
Okay. What'd you guys think about this one? Y'all remember the Hellman's commercial?
Vaguely. What refresh my memory, because I remember there being an interest. Oh, it was I know Sydney Sweeney was in it, and they had the people from When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, like the older chick was like getting borderline orgasmic about it.
Yes.
Yeah, like really freaking out in the restaurant. And then it panned over to Sydney Sweeney. She's like, I'll have one of those.
Of course, Sydney Sweeney is cashing a mayo bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll say like that's the stuff that I can like, you know, when they talk about member berries and movies and stuff, like I'm like, do it for commercials like that. Like that's pretty good. Yeah. But also I'm like, how much money did they pay Sydney Sweeney to just literally sit there and say that one line? Like she wasn't even in the commercial featured at all, but it's like, okay, it's great.
Her commercial usage is getting ramped up here. And I think me and Curtis had a big part in that.
I think so too.
We talked about her on the Six Pack a lot, and then they really ramped it up after that. I'm just saying, she's in that one, like the Sasquatch something. It's like supposed to be targeted towards men. So
like
let's just get the blonde girl with the rack and throw her out there.
Yeah. Sometimes like, because I even watched a YouTube thing last night when I was, dealing with my illness, and it was showing all of the like commercials that they couldn't play today that would have played during the Super Bowl. And some of them like, man, some of them were like just like 15, 20 years ago, like the one with the I think it was the Coors Light of like the two girls getting like Playboy models like fighting and ripping each other's clothes off in a fountain. I'm like, I probably couldn't do that one anymore.
What'd y'all think of the McConaughey commercial? I mean, I know he's been doing a lot of commercials. I think it was Uber Eats, which he's been doing for a while. The whole, they're trying to get you to eat, and it's Uber Eats or whatever. But they like did a really long version for the Super Bowl where he was dressed up like Mike Ditka and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
That was all right.
I liked it. Did you guys see that? I meant to bring this up. I didn't want to play it because we probably get hit with demonetization. But did y'all see Jimmy Johnson's AI promotion thing where they like?
Yes.
That was. I mean, it was kind of cool because he talked about Arkansas, and it's a little creepy though. I was like, oh man, it's kind of strange, a little weird, but yeah. I mean, AI is taking over, as we all know. But anyways, yeah, there was just a few things though from Super Bowl. The game itself wasn't great. I mean, that's just the way it is. But actually, real quick, another worst of the weekend for me. I wanted to bring that up. That's another thing I get tired of, if people complaining about and this is in any sport. If a national championship game or whatever is a blowout or a bad game, everyone's just like, just pissed. Like, what? Sometimes sports happens, folks. Sometimes it's just that way. I don't understand why. Like, it's the same with the college football playoff. They were just complaining, these teams, it happens. Georgia beat the crap out of TCU in a national championship game. And guess what happened 2 years prior? It was one of the greatest championship games I was ever played between Georgia and Alabama. So just stop. I get so tired of people complaining about that. Like, as if there's some, like, what went wrong in the system here? Like, what we got to figure out how this went wrong. Sometimes it's just sports and it just happens.
Yeah. I need to give credit to Saquon Barkley for being able to shotgun a beer better than our buddy JT Hazelwood. But
he shotgunned the beer pretty solid.
That was
I
crazy,
honestly wouldn't
bro.
have guessed that.
Me either. Yeah. He knew exactly what he was
doing. Like a guy
doing.
who has drank a ton of beers.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I've never seen JT Hazelwood shotgun a beer, but I trust you guys that it's.
Well, I hadn't either until recently, but he does a good job.
He can apparently chug them faster than he can shotgun.
Yeah, that's what what
But
we've
the
learned.
purpose of a shotgun, then
That's
impressive.
kind of what I thought. I was like, I mean, if you can just drink it faster, then
Just
just
do
drink it
that.
then, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, did y'all see Nick Foles tweet?
Mhm.
No.
He tweeted out after the game and was like something along the lines of, I just think it's so awesome that that Tom Brady was in attendance for both of the Eagles Super Bowl wins. And yeah,
pretty
it's a
good.
nice little
Dude, shout out to Brady, by the way. He was getting all this credit for being this genius analyst because leading up to the game, he's like, telling you, man, these Super Bowls, trust me, I played in them. It's a big deal if you win them, and it's a big deal if you lose them. He's like, you never forget it. And people were like, wow, great insight from Brady. Like,
Yeah.
That's his take, is like the Super Bowl is a big game. You didn't need to play in 7 to figure that out, brother. Like, it's kind of the game.
Yeah. I need to watch his Sunday conversation with Caleb Pressey. I saw a little clip of it, and it looked already pretty good, so I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I have to watch that too.
A few other things real quick. Let's see. Aaron Rodgers is done with the Jets. Thank goodness it's over with.
Wait, are we going to talk halftime show?
Yeah, we can.
I figured our audience really didn't like it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Last night is whatever. Like, there's just some music that's there and some music that's not. Like, there's gonna be people that if they had, Chris Stapleton out there, they're gonna be like, this sucks. I mean, it's just everyone's got their own taste in music. It's just the way it is. So yeah. I mean,
I'm a big Kendrick Lamar fan, but I just being honest, like I really wasn't that impressed with like if you take out the shots at Drake, which were wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like there really wasn't that much there for me. I thought the Samuel L. Jackson angle of it all was pretty cool, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't seem like that. I don't know. They usually are just so extra and go overboard with the performances and the special guest and the like the props and the sets and everything. I just didn't really get that vibe in this one, but given the underlying circumstances, it was kind of a holy, moment there.
Yeah, it was. I think that's with Kendrick is obviously a pretty understated, not a super eccentric guy. It probably would have looked weird if he had all this crazy, wild production and all that.
They chose him for the show,
right? But that's that's just kind of typically like what we've come to expect. Hell, even Rihanna when she was pregnant was still on platforms going all through, doing all kinds of stuff.
Overweight 50 cents hanging upside down off of the thing doing setups, like.
Yeah, I enjoyed the halftime show, and I also just love Kendrick, and I love his new album. I was a little surprised by how much, because a lot of times when you have the celebrity or the artists that do the Super Bowl, you got to play the hits. Like you got to play the songs that everyone knows, and obviously Kendrick, being a rap artist, it's going to be harder to do that. But he basically just did like his most recent album for the most part. Like almost all the songs were recent ones, which of course not like us. We knew he was going to do that. And make take shots at Drake, but it's pretty much all like it looked like just a Kendrick concert is really what it looked like, which me being a Kendrick fan, like I enjoyed that. Of course we got to talk. I mean, SZA, is anyone hotter than SZA?
Yeah.
I mean, not many, man. I thought she brought a nice little spark to the performance. I don't think she sang. I think her mic was off.
That's
but,
what I was. Yeah.
Definitely was mic was off, but who cares?
The Serena Williams thing was, I get it, but I thought it was weird.
Well, Drake, that's Drake's ex.
Like I said, I get it, but I thought it was really weird. Like, hey, let's just bring her ass out there to crip walk for 5 seconds, and then I don't know.
Well, do you remember when everybody got pissed at her for crip walking at I guess it was the U.S. Open?
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, and people really got heated up about it when she crip walked after she won. So I kind of liked it from that standpoint too, especially because it was just a quick 3-second there's Serena Williams crip walking, and then they moved on from it.
I wish they would have brought Wayne out there.
Subliminal shots.
Yeah.
Well, I just laugh because I'm like, if I have to look up what the significance of this person being here, then that's when I know I'm like, it's just probably not for me. Because it's like the Serena Williams angle. I just sat there. I'm like, why? And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay. It's just,
you
got to be informed.
Be super tapped in to understand, but there's a large section of the population that just had no idea what that was about. That's all.
And that's a fair. That's I think the most valid criticism. And even if I liked it, but I wouldn't defend it super hardcore because at the end of the day, this is the Super Bowl. This is all of America is watching. So I'm not saying hey, you need to dumb it down and whitewash everything, but like you do need to kind of appeal to a larger audience. And so I think that's where I think the Super Bowl halftime show missed in that way. But me personally, being a 27-year-old white dude, I enjoyed it.
I've seen worse for sure.
Yeah,
but it doesn't rank among my favorites.
Yeah, honestly, my favorite, since we're talking about halftime shows, one of my favorite was when Prince performed. That was still like one of the coolest things ever. Before he passed. Prince was really good, and of course, I'm a Justin Timberlake fan, so when he performed, it was good too. But I was also, this was what was surprising to me, because I forgot what year it was. Remember, just a few years ago, it was like Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Love all those guys. I grew up on that music. I was so disappointed with that halftime show when it happened. And I remember people were infuriated at me for saying that. And they were just like, "Oh, you're just a, classic white guy." And I'm like,
hanging.
Yeah. Like, no, it's just, I don't know. It just felt like it was kind of forced. And then everybody's just like, this is the greatest halftime show that has ever existed. And if you say otherwise, you're a terrible human being. So I was like, wow.
Bring back Shakira, dude. Shakira crushed it that one year.
Like her and J-Lo or something up there.
Yeah, man.
She dominated J-Lo.
Yeah.
Dominated J-Lo.
Yeah, but both of them, when they ended the show or whatever with their little dance and stuff, I mean, that was probably the most united the United States has ever been in at least the male demographic of like, this is a great halftime show. We enjoyed this. Love their music and their performance. It's what it was all about. So, but yeah, Super Bowl's over. So on to the next one. Super Bowl 60 coming up next year. So it'll be great.
Yesterday was Super Bowl licks.
Yes, it was.
As the Roman numerals, LIX.
I'm
just saying.
It's good.
Yeah, they should have just called it that and just gone with it. So before we get out of here, though, a few quick chats I wanted to bring up before we get out of here. Sharkensaw says Curtis with a low-key flex that he was a good teacher.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It worked, though.
Any teacher that busts out the projector and puts something cool on there, that's a great teacher.
That's right. Also, old gal from Stuttgart saying, bring your show on the road to Batesville. Or Swart SW Targal, whatever, saying bring the show to Batesville. So, okay.
They've got a, oh man, what's the name of that weird restaurant over there?
There's a weird
Beef
restaurant.
O'Brady's. There's a Beef O'Brady's in Batesville. We could go.
Beef O'Brady's? I did not expect that to come out.
Dude,
I love
we
Beef
used
O'Brady's.
to eat there. Is that we played Lyon College. We would go there and eat before the games. I don't know if it's still there. We could do it at the Mark Martin Museum or whatever. So,
wow, Beef O'Brady's. That is a throwback. Do you know that they have one in Bentonville, right?
do they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. No.
I did not know that. No.
Yep. They had one in Fort Smith for a while when I lived there. It was the place to go after church on Sunday, apparently.
Okay.
That's what everyone did. But yeah, I honestly, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because I'm trying to work on something I think it'd be really fun for us. Like after Arkansas wins the College World Series, of course, in the summertime, like maybe taking a week or two to have a traveling show, go to different cool spots in Arkansas and do it from our show from restaurants and businesses and stuff and see what it has to offer. So maybe Batesville will be on the map. Maybe we'll make that happen. So either way. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
I'm thought it out, boys.
No more thoughts for me.
Yep,
No, just tune into the Bombastic Podcast. It's freaking game week. We're about to be ramping some shit up here. It's about to be electric. I'm excited.
Yep, it's going to be awesome. I mean, it's amazing.
Actually, sorry.
Go ahead.
I do want to continue. I'm going to promote it every day until it happens. Friday, during Arkansas's baseball game, I will be going live, just a live Bombastic watch along. Everyone clear your schedules Friday from 3 to 6 or whatever. We're watching ball together. Be there or be square.
There you have it. So it gives you all the reasons to, of course, subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. Also, downloading our podcast, wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live or the Pod at the Palace or the Bombastic Podcast, it's all there. You can also check out our social media, Inside Arkansas, and also check out our website, InsideArkansas.com, for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information and all things Razorbacks. And that'll do it for us today. So for Andrew Ellis, it's Curtis Wilkerson, and I am John Neighbor. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.